listening to Your Physique Radio in association with IrishMuscle.ie. We are broadcasting worldwide via iTunes, YouTube, and Facebook, bringing you the latest in bodybuilding, fitness, and nutrition. Your Physique Radio. It's your physique. It's your choice. Alright everybody, welcome along here to Your Physique Radio. This is Season 2, Episode number 2. It's March 12th, 2013. My name is Colin Kennedy. I am joined on the line as always by Craig Clifford. On tonight's show we're going to have a review of the Arnold Classic, a review of the Australia Pro which happened this past weekend. We're going to have a feature interview of the week with the guys from Blunt Force Bodybuilding, and we're also going to give you a lineup of the upcoming shows back home in Ireland. So Craig, how's everything back home with you, my man?
All good, dude, all good. Just enjoying the cold weather as always. Just like yourself over in Phoenix, I guess.
That's right, yeah. I put a picture on Facebook there today, actually, of the temperatures, and it's a very cool 30 degrees today, I think, or thereabouts, and it will be for the next week, and it's probably just going to get better and better and better from there on. But definitely enjoying, definitely enjoying the weather. It's fantastic. But let's get back to the old bodybuilding scene, Craig. The Arnold Classic was on 2 weekends ago at this stage, so about 10 days ago now. Dexter Jackson comes away with his 4th victory, ties Flex Wheeler for the record in that category. Dexter had a 4th placing at the Olympia. He was obviously coming in here strong favourite after taking the Masters Olympia as well. Were you surprised by Dexter's win or by any of the other results, which I'm going to go over in a few minutes?
If I'm honest, no, I would have given it to Dexter Jackson as well. No, he did not look his best in the Arnold Classic. Far from it, actually, but still good enough to win in my eyes. A few things I would mention there now. Actually, do you want to go through, we'll say, the top 6 then, and I'll give you my opinion on what way it went.
I will, Craig. I'm actually going to give you a list of all the top 6 categories from the Arnold Classic, and we'll start going across the board from bikini. In 6th, Jamie Bard. 5th, Jessica Paxton. 4th, Yusara Robles. 3rd, Nicole Negroni. 2nd, Natalia Mello. And then 1st, a kind of a surprise in my mind, was India Paulino. In the figure then, in 6th we had Camila Rodriguez, 5th Mallory Hadelman, 4th Candice Lewis, an Arizona native here. In 3rd, reigning Olympia champion, Erin Stern, 2nd Heather Dees, and in 1st place Candice Keane. I believe Candice took 4th place or thereabouts at the Olympia, so she took a nice jump up there to overtake Erin Stern in that. In fitness, top 6, Royal Gabra Vassini, pardon my pronunciation on these names, guys. In 5th, Regini De Silva. 4th, Trish Warren. 3rd, Bethany Sisternino, who is the wife of Guy Sisternino, IFBB Pro. In 2nd, Oksana Grishin. And in 1st, Tanji Johnson, which is a big win for her, considering that she had to overcome Oksana, considering Oksana had won the Fitness Olympia.
Trish Warren,
my fault. Branches. Trish Warren's branches. Oksana took 2nd at the Olympia. My fault. It was actually Adela Garcia took 1st, and she was not in this lineup, so it was supposed to be Oksana's show and didn't happen. Tanji Johnson comes in, takes 1st place, and like you said there, Craig, 2 pro wives in this, so the wags of bodybuilding. Bethany Sisternino 3rd place and Trish Warren in 4th. Trish actually just 1 year removed from having a child, so to be up on stage a year after just kind of puts into perspective some of the excuses or reasons people might give us to not be able to train. But anyways, in the women's bodybuilding, in 6th, Angela De Baton. 5th, Cathy LeFrancois, who is an ex-wife of IFBB Pro or past pro Lee Priest. In 4th, Brigitte Brezovac. In 3rd, Debbie Lasweski. In 2nd, Yaxeni Oroquin. And in 1st, Iris Kyle. Iris is kind of a dominating factor in women's bodybuilding, has been for the last 7 or 8 years. She is the most winningest female bodybuilder of all time, I believe. I think this was her 7th Arnold Classic, and she's also got 7 overall Olympias and then 1 in the lightweight class of the Olympia, or the heavyweight, one or the other, so technically 8 Olympias. But let's get to the men, Craig. And on the list we had some big names. I'm going to call them out from top to bottom. Last place in unlucky number 13 was Ed Nunn, which has surprised the crap out of me. In 12th, Ronnie Raquel. 11, Michael Falianos. 10, Marcus Haley. 9, Fawad Abiad. 8, Darren Charles. 7, Fred Small. 6, Cedric McMillan. 5th, Hidetani Yamagishi. 4th, Johnny Jackson. 3rd, Tony Freeman. 2nd, Ben Pakulski. And in 1st place, taking home that win as we mentioned earlier, none other than Dexter Jackson. So Craig, going to the bodybuilding, you know, the top 6, they're big names, but they're a little bit out of order. I'm sure you're pretty happy with Johnny Jackson taking 4th. And you know you're also a fan of Tony Freeman, and then of course Ben Pakulski. He's done pretty well for himself here, I believe, in 2nd. But what's your take on the overall showdown and the top 6 in particular?
Yeah, if I'm honest, I definitely would have Dexter in 1 anyway. That's without a shadow of a doubt, I would have had him in 1. I'm not sure about the rest of the placings for me anyway. One that did surprise me, and like you just said, I am a fan of Tony. He didn't look great to me. There's something just not right about the physique for some reason. Not sure why, but not great. I'm not happy with it at all. And in 2nd, Ben Pakulski, yeah. Again, Ben looked great. He looked very dry, but he is lacking in a few parts, like, and noticeably his back and his arms, his legs are freaky, like, which are unbelievable. But like, yeah, see, for me, I don't know. It's hard to say, but his condition was probably the best in the show. So on that note, I probably will give him 2nd. Dexter, Albus 1st. I would have had maybe Johnny Jackson ahead of Tony Freeman, even though Johnny's legs are, if anything, getting worse.
You think?
And yeah, I don't know, is his upper body getting too big that it's outdoing everything else? But I don't know. It's strange, Colin. It's really strange. Like,
you know what is strange here? If we just stay with Johnny Jackson there for a moment, he's obviously a very strong guy. He competes in powerlifting meets, and he's a little bit straight up and down. A couple of years back, there was all this talk about who's the strongest IFBB pro. He was in there, and Stan Efferding. Stan is another dude who is incredibly strong, but also his legs are straight up and down. So, yeah. Everyone says, oh, compound movements this, compound movements that. This dude does nothing but squat and deadlift, and his legs are not nearly where they should be. So, I mean, it's very much a genetic disposition, whether you're going to have him or not. Obviously, he's been blessed with great upper body, but, you know, to all the powerlifters out there, squats and deadlifts are not the be-all and end-all when it comes to training. And I'm sure some of you will have a problem with that, but feel free to let me know. Anyway, Craig.
Yeah, again, just and heading back to Tony, I think Tony Freeman was way off. I think if Tony came in at 100%, he beats Dexter, because Dexter was at best 90, at best. But I probably would have had Tony in 6th, if I'm honest. Johnny Jackson, now he did look great. His upper body, again, ridiculous, and his condition was very, very good. The legs will always need work, but I think that's just him, and that's the way it'll always be. He's pushing on a bit now, so whether they'll ever improve, I'm not sure. Heated Tada was in 5th, that's right, yeah, and probably would have had him maybe up 1, up to 4th. His posing was fantastic. His balance, his symmetry was perfect as always. And the guy only broke his wrist a few weeks ago, I believe, so to get up on that stage, fair play to him. But for me, the biggest disappointment was Cedric McMillan, because there was a lot of hype coming into the show, but maybe, I don't know, the pressure might have got to him. I'm not sure what happened, but he looked soft in his abs, I think. Plenty of muscle, good condition. If he gets the condition right next time, he's way, way up. Now, he deserved probably 5th or 4th. I don't know. He got 6th. I don't think he was as bad as 6th, in fairness. And he did get better on the Saturday, but as the top 6 go, that'll be probably mine. How would you see the top 6 going?
Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed with Cedric, in that, you know, there was a lot of hype in his Facebook photographs and all this kind of looked fantastic, and he looked dry and hard and whatever else, but yeah, come the day, he was definitely the biggest man on stage. I mean, there was no question. Just in the comparisons, if you're looking at sheer size, the dude is a monster, but he definitely wasn't, or at least didn't appear to be as hard or as dry as he needed to be or should have been, and hopefully they can fix that come the Arnold Classic Brazil, which he's entered into in, I think it's 5 or 6 weeks from now. So we'll see how that one goes. But he still has great confidence in his advisor or guru, which is Chris Aceto. I just listened to an interview of his today, actually, that was just broadcast last night with Pro Bodybuilding Weekly. And, you know, Cedric seems to be confident enough that Chris is the man to get him to where he needs to be. He didn't seem like he was disappointed with his placing. He was like, alright, just got to work harder next time around. Seems like a guy who isn't motivated by the fame or the money or anything like that. He just seems like it's a challenge, and he, in his own opinion, did not do as good as he could have, but he believes he placed where he placed, and there's nothing he can do. So we'll see if he tightens it up a little bit for Brazil. I'm sure the lineup won't be as in depth, so he might have a better chance of breaking into the top 3 or 4 there regardless. But I definitely was kind of disappointed with him. Hidetari Yamagishi, I thought he looked great when he walked out. I was watching the live webcast on bodybuilding.com, and you know, he looked fantastic. But when you stand next to the other guys, he just hasn't got the size to carry over. And he's not that good of a bodybuilder, the likes of Sean Ray, where Sean was probably 210 pounds on stage, but he had the classic physique in that, you know, no matter how small he may appear to the other guys, he was a fantastic bodybuilder. Whereas Hidetada is a good bodybuilder, and I just don't think his physique is good enough to outweigh the lack of size that he has. Johnny Jackson, like you said, his legs seem up and down. That's old news at this stage. But he's still making some prize money here and there. He's obviously still doing okay in terms of financial success with the bodybuilding. Tony Freeman, tell you Craig, Tony needs to bring his iPhone and take pictures of himself backstage and give them to the judges, because when he walks out on stage, man, he isn't the same dude he is when he's on the stage or in his Facebook shots. Because he posted one picture today of him doing a twisting back bicep, whatever, and he looks fantastic. He looks as dry can be. And he's not competing again for another 3 weeks or something till FIBO in Germany, or 5 weeks. So to be 5 weeks out and that hard, I don't know how he gets on stage and doesn't look as hard as he could be. There's something funky going on. I believe he's been helped by Dennis James these last couple of months, or maybe even the last year or so. And to be fair, Dennis had Johnny and Tony, so he had 3rd and 4th place, which you can't fault that. He also had Marcus Haley, who came in 10th. So, you know, 3 guys out of the top 10, 2 out of the top 5. Dennis is doing something pretty well. But look, it is what it is. Pekulski, I think, has a fantastic structure in that he has got wide shoulders, he has got amazing legs, but his actual individual muscle separation through his legs is great. But his upper body, his chest is a little bit smaller than I think it could be to balance him out. At this stage, he's not going to find that in a fancy new 10x10 workout that we've mentioned before we came on air. You know, he's into all the science aspect of training, and you know, it just shows that genetics are genetics, and you can only do so much with them. And I think he's pretty much come as far as he can, to be honest. I don't think he can do any better than that. He's not going to be a Mr. Olympia, just like Johnny Jackson is never going to be Mr. Olympia. Hidetada's never going to be Mr. Olympia. It is what it is. But can he make a career, and can he make some financial success from bodybuilding? Yes, of course he can.
What age has Ben? Is he still a lot of years left?
I think he's early 30s.
Yeah, so, you know, if you give him 6 or 7 years, you know, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, he has made improvements in the last couple of years. So, look, I hope he proves me wrong.
This might sound a bit strange, but are his shoulders and his legs too big for the rest of him? Are they overemphasizing his bad points?
You know, they possibly could be. I remember I think it was Bob Chigarella one time said, nobody ever lost a bodybuilding show because their arms were big. I think that it could be the case in what you're saying, because he has such a wide standing, relaxed pose. His chest looks smaller, his quads, I mean, they look great and everything, but you know, he just still has that disproportion slightly from lower body to upper body. His chest doesn't look nearly as hard or as big as it could be. Again, this is all based on image, but I did see him one time in Gold's Gym in Venice about a year ago, and he's a big man. So to see him standing next to some of these guys in shape and look like he's smaller than some of them is kind of astounding, because Dexter Jackson is a small guy. You meet him in person, he's a small guy. Now, of course, he's got a ton of muscle, but he's small. He claims 225, 230 on stage. I don't think he's even close to that, to be honest. I don't know why he would lie, but I do think he is lying. But Dexter has those flawless lines, you know, whereas Pekulski, when he does his front double bicep, his chest kind of floats away a little bit. And that shouldn't be the case for a guy who can hold so much muscle elsewhere. But you mentioned earlier his arms, they definitely don't look to me like pro caliber in the images. Now, in real life, I saw him, he was wearing a long sleeve shirt, and he looked like the biggest man in the gym by far. But clearly when he strips it all down, he's just lacking some shape. His arms look a little bit funky, to be honest. I'm actually looking at a shot here. Just something a little bit strange about his front double bicep, Craig. If you pull up a picture there before we finish up the show, and just let me know. But he doesn't look as lean through his bicep as he should, and that's typically not a good sign. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, so Dexter, Dexter takes it, deserves it. He came out. It wasn't his best performance, but he didn't have to be his best to win, and that just shows how bad the rest of the field was.
True. Guys, what I will say as well, like, this is just myself and Colin's opinion. I'm sure some of you disagree. Let us know, guys. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, I'd actually be very interested to hear some people's opinions on this, and not kind of because someone else said this and someone else said that. Look at the images yourself, and look through the pictures and decide based on that, not based on the name or the actual placings. Where do you think they should have come in? And my big flaw in all of this is Ed Nunn. I don't think he should have been dead last. He definitely beat out Ronnie Rockel, in my opinion.
Ed Nunn was 8th place, is that right?
I haven't
Ronnie
listed
Rockel
here.
was 14th.
So they must have. I'm looking at I've got a list here actually. I didn't think Ed Nunn was that far down the list, but on my list he's coming in on 13th here, and Rockel on 12th. So I'm gonna double check that.
I have IFBBPro.com results one open.
Yep.
And it's showing Ronnie Rockel in 13th, and Michael Kefalianis in 12th. Marcus Haley in 11th. Fuad Abiad 10th. Who we got in 9th? We've Darren Charles in 9th, and we've Ed Nunn in 8th place.
Okay. So basically what they've done there then, they've got Ed Nunn out of place, so he should be in the 8th place, and Darren Charles should push one down, everyone else should follow. So that makes a little bit more sense to me then, because he's definitely not the last place guy in that show, that's for sure.
Yeah. But even in 8th place, I still don't think he's in 8th place either. I still think he's better than 8th place, Ed Nunn.
But on that day, was he better than 8th place?
I suppose. Anyway, I suppose we move on to Australia.
Well, I've lived there before, Craig, and I don't plan on going back. But in the meantime, I suppose we can look at the results from the Australian Pro. And there was 3 categories. We had bikini, men's bodybuilding, and figure. I'll give a quick result on those. In 6th in bikini, Jessica Pendergast. 5th, Rhiannon Harris. 4th, Pollyanna Moss. 3rd, Natalia Mello, which is kind of shocking. 2nd, Nicole Negrani, and in 1st place, India Paulino. India obviously won the week before the Arnold Classic, so that's no surprise. However, Nicole Negrani jumped a place, and Natalia Mello fell a place. Again, I don't understand that. Each to their own, I suppose. In the figure, Amanda Doherty was the wife of Tony Doherty, 24/7 Gym in Melbourne, Australia, the organiser and promoter. She looked good. I don't know if she was top 6, but look, that's where she lands. In 5th, Rena Shimad. 4th, Mallory Hadelman, who placed in the Arnold Classic the week before. Candice Lewis gets 3rd place. Erin Stern gets 2nd, and Candice Keane takes home the 2nd win, as she did win prior in Columbus, Ohio at the Arnold Classic the week before. But let's go to the men. In 6th, I believe he's from Turkey but living in Australia, Mike Falianos. 4th, Ivan Sadik. 4th, Ed Nunn. 3rd, Ben Pekulski. 2nd, Tony Freeman. And in 1st place again, Dexter Jackson. So another flip-flop there, Craig. Tony jumps ahead of Ben in that one. In fact, all 3 had a flip-flop in the 2nd and 3rd places, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
But international judging, maybe they judge it more fairly. Who knows? But look, it is what it is. Dexter Jackson, again, he wins. There's probably no surprise there. Tony Freeman going ahead of Ben Pekulski. The images I'm looking at are pretty poor. It looks like we're taking on a quick snap Kodak from 20 years ago. which is disappointing because, you know, if you're going to take photographs and post them online, and, you know, you'd hope that the quality would be good. But nonetheless, we do thank people for putting these pictures up and letting us have a look at them so we can make our comparisons and, you know, have our judgments as we wish. But Craig, what do you think about those results? Obviously Dexter wins, but
I did see some video actually on it, and I seen the top 6 of them on stage on some video. I think it was on IrishMuscle, one of the forums or something. But I mean, I definitely, Dexter looked a million times better than he did back in Ohio. So for me, like, there was no way he was going to lose. He looked unbelievable. Tony Freeman in second, I definitely would have had him there. He was better. He was improved. Ben Pekulski in third. I'd have had him in third, to be honest. He was pretty much the same, but Tony did improve, so that's why he took the extra place, I'd imagine. In fourth, Ed Nunn, Jesus, yeah, he looked much better, but I do believe he only arrived in Australia the night before the show because there was some problem with him. I think he's from Minnesota, and there was some snowstorm or something, and he couldn't get out.
Possibly,
as far as I believe. So I know he only got in the night before. So, and he was, I think it was a 17-hour flight, and his trainer Hanny Rambat had him only eating protein and fat on the plane. So he got off, and he pretty much just carved up when he got out, when he got off the plane. So he'd like 12 hours, which is very, very difficult, to be fair. Like, and for him to come fourth, I know it wasn't the best 12 people that ever competed, or 11 people that ever competed, but still, it's still a good placing for him, Ed Nunn. He deserves to be in the 4 or 5 area, definitely. In fifth, we had, was it Ivan Sedek? Is that right? Yeah,
that's right.
Australian guy, fair play to him. And in number 6, we had Michael Kay, who's actually, I think it's Greece, not Turkey. Greece.
That's right, yeah. Apologies to our Greek listeners, because there are actually some of you guys out there, and we do appreciate you tuning in.
He's from an island called Kos, I think, which is a big holiday island actually in off Greece. So if any of our Irish or European or American listeners are heading to Kos, if you need a session, head up to his gym. It looks pretty good. We've seen some video over there before. We'll have to give a shout out to An Wen, who came in 8th place.
Yep.
Friend of the show, fair play. Like to see him getting on stage, getting as much practice as he can. And Jeff Long actually came 7th out of the top 6. I don't know, have you seen pictures of Jeff?
I have.
Recently? I mean, the guy has like an amount of muscle, like it's crazy. It's an amazing amount of muscle. He just did not get the conditioning right at all for whatever reason. But I don't know, was it the journey or something? I'm not sure, but he was deserving to be out of the top 6 in my eye. But if this guy can get it right, I think he can definitely be in like top 5 at the Arnold. Like he could be if he gets it right.
Yeah, we must be looking at different pictures here, Craig, because Jeff Long looks like he's got a long way to go, because he looks real soft in the pictures I'm looking at. His
Are you
legs,
looking at him from the front?
I'm actually looking at him from behind right now, which sounds terrible, but hang on, I'll look at him from the front here. Okay, yeah, from the front, he upper body, his front double bicep, his chest still looks good, his abs are still kind of showing through his arms, but his legs are a little bit funky. They're I don't know how you know what we mentioned earlier, Stan Efferdine. They look very Stan Efferdine-esque.
That's not good.
No, they look straight up and down. They don't look like they pull together properly. Look, it's genetics. I'm sure the dude is squatting and leg pressing and doing all the curls and whatever he wants, but I don't know. He looks a little bit soft in some of these shots, especially. But
yeah, but definitely soft. I totally agree with you there. But I'm saying he has muscle there on his body. I just don't think he can get the condition right to show it off.
I wonder how tall he is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because if he were short enough and of around the right weight to jump down to the 212 class, which I think An Wen should possibly think about, because when An is a little bit smaller and a little bit tighter, he has a nice standing structure. I mean, I'm looking at front relaxed there. He looks pretty nice in that shot. You could chop his head off and say that he's one of the top 10 guys in the world just from his standing relaxed pose. Now he's a little bit small in areas, but if he were good enough, if he were the right height and weight proportion for 212, I think he would do quite well in there. Now he may be way over, but I don't think he could be too far up, to be honest. you mentioned earlier about Hidetani Yamagishi breaking his wrist. I mean, if you're going to break any part of your body, your wrist is probably the least one that's going to hinder your performance on stage. It's not like it's your leg or something, but still he had to go through the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm sure he wasn't doing much training at the time, but it would still put a little bit of load on. But look, he came away with 25 grand, or I don't know what prize money he got, at least 10, 15 grand anyway. I would endure 2 weeks of pain for an extra 15 grand, thank you very much.
Yeah,
so,
true.
I think given the opportunity again, he'd go and repeat the same action, I'm sure. And he was working with Iris Kyle up until the Arnold, and I'm sure he's going to continue to work with her because his conditioning was pretty damn good. But anyways, so yeah, back to the Australia Pro. You know, it's one of those shows where it's so far away. Like it's a 19-hour flight for anyone from America. It's probably much the same for anyone from Europe. It's a long way to go, and if you're heading down there hoping to win, fantastic. But you know you're going to have the likes of a Dexter Jackson who's going to just get the plane ride and go. He may have even got a couple of grand to go and compete to draw in the crowd. You know, unless you're trying to create new fans at the FitX, which is their expo that they hold there in the Melbourne Convention Centre, you know, it's a long way to go. So it doesn't surprise me that there was only a few big names in this show. Not to say that the 7 or 8 guys or 9 guys who went were not big names. We obviously know who they are, and that's fantastic. But unless you're winning IFBB shows, you're not a big name yet. And I don't think many of those guys have actually won a show. So it's got to be tough for the promoter too. But he's doing a job on it. I think this coming weekend there's a figure and bikini pro show in New Zealand, which again, it's handy for the guys and girls to travel across the water from Australia to New Zealand to go. But if you haven't already been to Australia, are you going to travel all the way to New Zealand just for the show? And it's probably unlikely. But again, who knows? We'll find out once we actually see the competitor lineup for sure on that one. Craig, the next show coming up is not for another 4 weeks or 5 weeks. It's going to be the FIBO in Germany. Now, tell me this. The bodybuilding show is on there this year, obviously, to have a competition this year. The time you went, was it 2 or 3 years ago? They didn't have a show, is that correct?
No, that was the last year. Actually, it was the show that they didn't have a show. The year I went, of course it was, but they didn't have a show. It was only amateur, like. Yeah.
So that'll be the draw. I'm sure there'll be some big names going in there. I know Tony Freeman has gone in.
It's changed city as well this year. It's gone from Essen to Cologne, so people are very excited about that. It's supposed to be a lovely new exhibition centre in there. So.
Okay, so that should draw a few more people as well, because I mean Essen, what was Essen like? I mean, was it a big city? What's the population like there? Any idea? The
population of Essen, I think it's about 80 or 90,000, but the expo centre is the biggest expo centre in Europe. It was absolutely huge. It took me the best part of 8 hours in the day to get through all 10 buildings to see everything.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. It was monstrous. I think the one in Cologne is brand new and it's a little more compact, but I think it'll be better. Do you know?
It looks like there's a little bit more prize money on the line too. Australia had 25 grand. Germany's going to have 30 grand. The Arnold Classic in Brazil, which is April 26th and 27th, will have $85,000 on the line. So that's nice. You know what shocks me in one sense and doesn't in another? The New York Pro, Craig, there's only $20,000 on the line at the New York Pro.
You know what, I'm just looking at that, Colin.
And that's total prize money. That's not the winner, that's the total prize money, you know. So the winner will get 10 grand. And the New York Pro is probably one of the premier non-Arnold Classic, non-Olympia shows out there. You know, it's probably the third best show on the line.
It's probably there, it's in the second tier, the top of the second tier, I'd imagine.
You know. Now, maybe the title means that guys will go along and it's a good opportunity to qualify for the Olympia because it's on May 25th. That will give you another 3 months or so to get to the get to the Olympia in Vegas. But, you know, it's typically a good lineup, the New York Pro. Let's hope that the same stands true this year. Steve Weinberger, of course, and Bev Francis, Powerhouse Jim, put that one on. And Steve being a judge for the IFBB, I'm sure he'll be able to draw on a few big names wanting to please the judge, so that when he's on stage, so that when the bodybuilders are on stage and Steve is in his judging seat, they might get the extra nod. Who knows? But he definitely gets a good turnout, and this year shouldn't be any different for that. Craig, other than that, I mean, we won't go too far down the line, but back home, we've got a couple of shows coming up in Ireland. The Spring Classic, the RIBBF Spring Classic, will be on April 14th. Masoon Butt is going to be the guest poser for that. So if you're not competing, or you've no friends or anything competing, and you've no interest in the Irish level, you should have, but if you don't, go along definitely and see IFBB Pro Masoon Butt. Fantastic bodybuilder, great shape, symmetry, balance, and really, really nice guy as well. Craig, that's going to be on in Limerick, and I believe you've got prior obligations that weekend. Yeah, we'll probably get our feedback from IrishMuscle.ie. They're always pretty much up to date on all of that stuff, and they'll have training videos, etc. With Mr. Cork then happening on May 4th, that's 7 weeks out from this coming weekend. A few guys might carry over from the Spring Classic on that one and just try and, if you're new to the stage or you're new to competing, definitely these are great shows to get your feet wet and then jump on to nationals later on in the year. Bluntforcebodybuilding.com is another great site that you can get your information about Irish bodybuilding, training, nutrition. They've got some good names in the Irish bodybuilding scene, actually some of the best names in the Irish bodybuilding scene contributing there, and some very good interviews with some of the best athletes coming out of Ireland in recent times. And of course the one and only IFBB pro that did come from Ireland, Mr. Sean Bullman, has also done an interview with them as well, and I had a read of that earlier today myself and was very impressed with how it went, so it was good, great information. Craig, there is a seminar coming up, and we'll let the Blunt Force bodybuilding guys talk about that when they come on for the interview in a little bit, but it will have Sean Bullman, it'll have Larry Doyle, it'll have Brian Hickey, so Big Red will be there himself. Guys who have stood on stage and are on their way up and coming, and if they haven't already won shows, they are definitely going to win shows, and you know, IFBB Pro at hand, so definitely go along. I'm sure the guys will talk more about that in the interview itself, but I believe it's only going to be €10, Craig, is that correct?
I can't believe it's only €10.
€10.
I really can't.
So if you're looking for a wealth of information, guys, get yourselves to Limerick. We'll again ask the guys what date it's on, and that is going to be in 2 or 3 weeks time. Yeah,
I think it's the day before the show. I think it's the Saturday maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. But
day before
they'll tell us for sure.
So it'll be April 13th then in Limerick. But guys, that will actually be the next port of call for us now. We're going to go to the interview with the guys from Blunt Force Bodybuilding, Ian McGarry and Keith Burke. And here we go.
We're joined by the Blunt Force Bodybuilding crew of Ian McGarry and Keith Burke. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, Craig? How's it going?
Good. First of all, before we start, I have to thank you for taking the interview, guys. We really appreciate you getting on here.
No problem at all.
I might as well hit you with the first questions there when we get the ball rolling on this interview. I'll throw the first one at you, Keith, actually. Why and how did Blunt Force Bodybuilding start out? Was there a reason behind it, or was it just a hobby? Or
before I started Blunt Force, I spent a lot of time doing mixed martial arts and stuff, and I was like a really avid tweeter. I spent a lot of time on Twitter, tweeting about my training, and if I was in the gym or whatever else, you know. And then like some of my tweets would be drawn out and long or whatever, and someone suggested to me, would I not be interested in doing a blog, starting a blog where people can see where my long tweets just maybe a bit more condensed or whatever, all in one place. And eventually I was in the gym training with Ian and stuff. We were buddies and chatting away, and after my last fight in MMA, one of my mates said to me, when I wasn't in the MMA gym, I was basically in the gym. I was eating like a bodybuilder. Everything besides going to the MMA gym and sparring and doing all that stuff, I was basically living and breathing bodybuilding without me even noticing it, and being a fan of it from on the outside without ever, I won't say naming myself, oh, I'm a bodybuilder or whatever. I was just a fan of it, and I'd make it my mission to go out of the way and watch the competitions and follow the coverage and stuff, and pick up the magazines. So then a couple of months after, I put MMA on the back burner, and I just kept training away. I was going to the gym still 5 days a week and still watching my food and whatever else. I just decided one night, sitting on the couch on my iPhone messing about, I just downloaded a blog app, and I just started blogging, literally writing down what I was doing, all the sets, reps, what I was eating, just stuff I saw in the gym, a little bit of my opinion on certain things in fitness and bodybuilding and stuff. And then the audience started to grow. At this point, it was all ran from my iPhone. I didn't have a laptop. I didn't even have internet in my house. I was literally running it all off my phone, taking pictures of my phone, videos of my phone, and literally posting it up there for people to go and see. And people caught onto it. They were reading the stuff and they were going, you know, I'm going through that stuff the exact same way he is. And it kind of just snowballed. And as it got bigger and bigger, and our views got larger and larger, I was just talking to Ian one day in the gym where I think we were just training back or something together. And I goes, man, do you want to like jump in on this, and you know, we can work on it together, and we can share articles and bounce ideas off each other, you know, lighten the load on one another's shoulders. And that night, Ian jumped on, and we got the Facebook page up and running, and literally it's grown every day and every week since then. Like it's got absolutely gigantic, and it all started from just me sitting on the couch being bored, as opposed to like me sitting down with a business plan and being like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to, you know, run the fitness industry or something like that. It was just a dude in the gym with an idea, and people bought into it, and it just snowballed.
And you know what, Keith? If you probably did do a business plan, it wouldn't have worked out probably the way you'd liked it anyway. So fair play to you, man.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, well, what the whole idea behind Blunt Force was, it was just like bodybuilding like as a sport and a lifestyle. Before I got involved in lifting weights and stuff like that, I was like one of these dudes that would just go out on the weekends, get absolutely pissed, wake up on a Sunday and have no money, and was like just eating crap. And I was just literally spend most of my time watching TV and playing video games. And bodybuilding as a lifestyle and a hobby changed my life. And if the Blunt Force thing can change one person, one guy, one girl, somewhere in the world can read our stuff and go, you know what, I think that's going to suit me, and I'll try it, then that's mission accomplished in my eyes.
Absolutely. I mean, do you know what, Keith? There's so many of us that were in that same boat, that were like, I mean, when I started training the very first time, I think I was like 9 stone at 6 foot tall. So you could nearly see through me. I was so thin, you know, it was horrible. But like that, it was every weekend, 2-3 nights, and then like you say, no money. But it's great, and like, I mean, your blogs, the website, everything is flying. You know, I mean, did you realistically imagine how it would grow today to what it is? You know what I mean? Did you, when you started out, of course, you said it was just on your iPhone. You couldn't have imagined the way it is skyrocketed.
No, it was just like I think the first time I noticed that it was kind of taken off was I was before Christmas. I was walking through the city in Limerick, and just this young dude, like, you know, wouldn't say he was like 6 foot and fucking 5 foot wide and like 300 pounds or anything, you know what I mean? Just a regular dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Walked in and goes, oh, you're the guy from Blunt Force. And I was like, yeah. I wasn't like, I'm tattooed from head to toe, so I kind of like stand out,
yeah,
like a sort of but he came up and he was like, oh, you're the guy that does the Blunt Force thing. And he was like, I love your articles. He was like, and he goes, it's a good bit of motivation and stuff when I go to the gym, and you know, I can see that not only it's not all sunshine and rainbows, like, you know what I mean, it's like I'm eating a bland ass diet, you know what I mean, but I can look in the mirror every day and go, this thing is working for me, and it gives me confidence and stuff. And when that guy came up to me in the street, I was like, wow, you know, isn't like that makes me like, you know, that all these hits aren't like my parents logging on and hitting the website to make me feel better, you know what I mean? I was seeing we're reaching out and we're making a difference, I suppose, you know what I mean? That's and it's just a bunch of dudes that go in the gym, train their hardest, go home, eat clean, trying to change their lives, and we're just, you know, we're living this stuff the same way our audience is. So,
and I suppose to you, Ian, I seen you train down in Castlemaine. Like you mentioned there, Keith, like about your training, all the kind of the same. I'll never forget watching Ian doing dumbbell presses. Now, Ian, you were obviously there. You were lifting the weight on the day. I actually got a pump. I got a pump in my shoulder watching you do them presses. It was taking you about 5 seconds to do a negative and about 5 seconds to do a positive. I was actually dying watching you. Fair play, man.
Yeah, I was working on the tension stuff at that stage just to try and switch things up, you know. And I think a big thing that we do as well is if we try something new, we're kind of like guinea pig for everyone else. We'll try it and we'll let people know. We kind of give a little update of what we're doing. Like right now, we're doing kind of lean over and back kind of training, and we're just trying to keep people updated and let people know. A lot of people might not know about it, so we're trying to filter them in on what it is, and they can't just find it. But a big thing, I think, why the site and the Facebook page is so successful at the moment is through the attitude and a lot of the attitude is no bullshit. And today as well, especially with the internet, and you've got these trolls and keyboard warriors, and you've got these kind of young guys that think they're shit at,
Yeah.
But the old school attitude has kind of disappeared, and the work ethic that guys had in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, that's disappeared. All of it's disappeared for a lot of guys that are myself, Keith age. It's fairly rare now that you get someone that's just a hard worker, like a blue collar, and that's willing to just put in the graft. And I think that a big thing that we do is we kind of make it clear, like, that it's not easy, like it's not easy at all. Like, a lot of the stuff, the content that we put on isn't just your usual stuff you might read in Tech magazine. It might, your I ate 5 chicken breasts, I did that, I had whatever. It's not your humdrum stuff. It's more it's a different side of bodybuilding as well. So, I mean, other people can kind of relate to that too. So that's the big reason why it's kind of fell out so much. It's very relatable stuff,
Yeah. I mean, like, just from Blunt Force's point of view, you've Cavan away over in Ohio at the Arnold Classic. You've Big Red's rant. You've the transformation, which is absolutely, I love watching. And he's at a tough starting point, but we're all very interested to see where that's going to end. And you have plenty of great sponsorship. It's going from strength to strength. And how did you get in contact with all these people, or did they get in contact with you? Or what way does it work?
Largely that's Keith hard work, just getting on to companies. I mean, it's a big thing in this kind of industry. You might know yourself that the company is not going to sponsor you. I remember seeing a video on YouTube, and it was Mark Lobner, and he was talking about companies sponsoring people, and you have so many kind of young guys that are looking for sponsorships. Please give me a sponsorship, blah, 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 on YouTube or whatever. And at the end of the day, a company is a company for a reason. They're not their party. They're not going to give you a sponsorship. You have to buy something for them.
Yeah.
And you've got to make it worth their while. And unless it's worth their while, why would they invest? They wouldn't be in business in the first place. So I think the companies see that we can really give them back more than they invest. So that's a big part of it too. It's not like that. And for a lot of guys that are out there, I'll say this to them, if a lot of guys are into bodybuilding, they're in amateur bodybuilding, and they're looking to get sponsored, you've got to do something original that isn't fish, and you've got to appeal to an audience, because unless you can broadcast your sponsor and you can kind of get a wider audience, the sponsor's not going to be interested. They're not going to care whether you look great or whatever. They might care, but a big part of it is how many people you can pull in. That's a huge part of getting any sponsorship. So.
That's very true, Ian. Actually, I couldn't agree more, mate. I couldn't agree more. And you have a seminar coming up, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have our first event, the Blunt Force Seminar, which has got our special guests are Sean Bullman, Larry Doyle, and Brian Hickey. And Brian Hickey, of course, is the guy behind the Reds Rant, probably one of our most looked at articles, which is basically. Brian takes myths and subjects in the industry and just tumbs them down and beats them up, and if you're wondering about one thing, he's definitely one of the top guys to ask. And when we had the idea to ask Brian to write an article for us, we wouldn't designate a job of writing an article for Blunt Force to anybody if we didn't respect their opinion or their the track record or what they've accomplished in the sport so far. And Brian's been great for whether it's me if I'm struggling with something I don't understand. If I want to message him or whatever, he's always at the end of a message on Facebook or the phone to contact. And his rants, when I'm editing them, put them up on the site, I piss myself laughing every time, every rant.
He's a good guy with a lot of knowledge in that head of his. And I've been up to his gym. I don't know, have you been up there yet, Keith? But it's a fantastic gym, fantastic facility. They're always welcoming.
He invited us up for a leg workout, and I'm not too sure if that was inviting or kind of warning us off. Just the legs. We're going to take him up in his offer and try and get up there when maybe when the seminar is over, when things have kind of quietened down.
Yeah.
On our end. But it was just we had to ask Brian to be on part of the seminar, all the help he's given us and all the information he's helped us with can be passed on to the audience on the day. And then Larry Doyle as well, who's another guy who, if I'm ever stuck for anything, me and Ian don't know, we can talk to him and ask him his opinion. Very smart, knows his stuff, and he creates these disgusting workouts for Brian, so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then lastly then is Sean Bullman, who is pretty much accomplished what most people can only dream of in the sport.
Yeah.
Ireland's first ever IFBB pro, and the stories this man has told me over the years are just crazy. Like if he starts ranting on the day, I don't think we're going to stop him.
Down in Castlemaine, we had in my own gym, I had Sean down there for a seminar. My God, you said it there, Keith. The amount of stuff that guy could tell you, like, and he's been there, done that, and he's done all the hard work. He's done everything that we'll say Ian, myself, and you, Keith, are starting to do and on the way to do. He's done it years and years and competed against the best guys. When you're listening to this, if you're thinking, won't I go to the seminar? Believe me, get down. You will absolutely leave that seminar knowing a lot more than when you went in the door. I can promise you that.
Just an example, people know, like, on the scale of the stories this guy has told me. I was in the shop that he owns. It's a local tattoo shop where I get my work done. But he was just about to leave the store, and I told him that we were going to be over at the Body Power Expo in Birmingham, and that we're going to be in Temple Gym getting a workout in or whatever. And just like it was nothing, he goes, "If you see Dorian, tell him Sean Bullman said hi." Like, it's in, anyone who doesn't know, it's Temple Gym in Birmingham. That's Dorian Yates' gym, 6-time Mr. Olympia, where he basically sculpted one of the best physiques to ever grace this planet.
Yeah.
And he just said it, just tell him I said hi, as if the same way you'd say, "Oh, tell him I was asking for him," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all those guys, like Sean Ray and stuff, like they respect Sean so much, and the knowledge this guy is going to give out for €10 on that day it's a steal. People would pay thousands of dollars for the stories and the knowledge this guy has.
€10 is reckless. I mean, it's reckless for what you're going to learn. I mean, he could have charged €50 and people should still pay it. €10 is an absolute steal, pure bargain.
Just make sure you bring a pen and pad.
Absolutely. Keith, I know Ian has competed, and I've seen him on stage, and I've seen him actually in action in my gym, but are you going to compete, or do you have any plans to compete?
Yeah, well, that was another reason why Blunt Force started. It was kind of like a way to motivate myself. I'm planning on doing the RIBBF Nationals this year in October, because it's my last opportunity to do as a junior.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, with Ian's help and following the Lane Norton fat program, I'm currently I'm dieting at the moment for something outside of bodybuilding, but then I'm going to go back on and bulk up for a couple more months, and then cut for the show in October. So that's my plan, and then just use it like, I'm under no illusions. I'm never going to grace an Olympia stage or anything like that. I'm doing it because I enjoy the sport, and I enjoy the athletes and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my main goal at the moment, is to keep focusing on Blunt Force and to compete in October.
Excellent, man. Well, hopefully you'll do well, and you know what, once you do your best, that's all you can do. You can't beat anybody around you. Once you're 100%, everything else is out of your hands, you know. Especially for your first one, Keith, actually, and Ian can contest to this, it's a learning curve. You make your mistakes first time around, and if you nail it, great, but if you don't worry about it, man.
Well, like, I've got a fantastic team around me with like Ian and Kevin, who've been there and done that.
Yeah.
And been able to pull opinions and answers to questions I might not have myself from those guys, and the likes of Brian Hickey and Sean Bullman and Larry Doyle. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You couldn't ask for a better dream team if you made it up, you know?
That's true. With Ian and Kevin on your side, especially, you've two of the best juniors in the country there, like, so.
When I started out training, it was guesswork, absolute guesswork, and I gotta say, it's a lot of young guys who were thinking about competing, or you know, they want to get into the junior class and get started. Get as much information as you can about anything, no matter what it is, no matter what side of it is, what side of bodybuilding is, whatever side you're into. Okay, the big thing is information, and you got to learn, you got to teach yourself. Because bodybuilding is more than lifting up weight and putting chicken in your mouth, because it's a three-dimensional kind of thing. You know, you have to be willing to educate yourself, and as well be willing to take different ideas and not be stubborn, and kind of listen to all different aspects of training and nutrition and everything. Because I mean, you may not be right, you know, you might think you're right, but you might not be right. So a big thing with seminars, these guys have been there, they've done that, they're incredibly knowledgeable, and you won't get this kind of information anywhere. You know, you might get it on the internet, but I mean, it's going to be skewed. This is real, no bullshit information. And I mean, €10, you're getting tons of freebies. I mean, you get a payout as well. You know, what more can you ask for? You know, and if I was 16, I started keeping when I was 16, 17. I mean, if I had that at my doorstep, I'd jump on it straight away.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll put this question, I suppose, to both of you, and Keith, you can answer first, but I presume Ian's going to be in the same direction. So far, Blunt Force, in my eyes, has just exploded on the scene, and deservedly so. You deserve all the credit in the world, guys, you really do, because, like mentioned on your Physique Radio many a time, there's not even a website for Irish bodybuilding. It's kind of sad. I mean, we have Irish Muscle now, and we have Blunt Force Bodybuilding now, and we have Your Physique Radio. So between the three of us, we're trying to give out as much information as possible. But I mean, there's no apps, you know, there's no RIBBF.ie or not even a Facebook page. It's kind of, you know, it's something that should happen. But fair play to you guys. Keep up the good work. And what's the future for Blunt Force? It can only go up and up from here, I would imagine.
At the moment, we're not doing this. If people want to know, like, we're doing this for bodybuilding, for bodybuilding, kind of give back. We're not making any money off this. This is purely us doing it because we want to do it. We have to kind of help other people out. Now, at the moment, we don't plan on making any money at all. It's just we're doing it, we love it, and who knows in the future, you know. But at the moment, we're just doing it out of the love of it. I mean, the seminar, it's €10, you know, it's big, it's like, you know, so we're just doing it out of the love, pure love of bodybuilding. And like you said, I really want to get Irish bodybuilding up there, you know, and really promote it, you know, because we have some amazing bodybuilders and we've got a really great work ethic, you know, in this country. A lot of guys willing to just go balls out, you know. And you might go to the States and you'll thank gyms and everything, but you know, you might have advantage gyms or whatever, but that same work ethic is rare to find anywhere else in the world. And I think, you know, Irish bodybuilding can only go up and up. And I've seen in the last, I started competing anyway, 08, 09, Irish bodybuilding is exploding. Even in the junior ranks and in the female ranks, I mean, the numbers you're getting out and the quality especially, and you just saw yourself I mean, the junior lineup there, you just gone by the RBBF, but I competed in. Arguably the best junior lineup ever, and the quality is just amazing now. So I just want to just improve Irish bodybuilding and kind of let people know and keep people informed. That's the big thing, just to spread the word about bodybuilding, you know, and it just get across the idea that a lot of people think that, you know, bodybuilding, you copy your average Joe, and they'll say, first thing I think of is you wear fake tan and you go around in a pair of speedos, but far more than that, you know. Far more than that. And I mean, it's you make that out of sport, you make that out of lifestyle, but it's one of the most difficult things a human being to do. And a lot of people on the street, well, they might not understand it, they won't get it. But I think we're just trying to get across how we get from it, and the true joy, you know, as one of the best things. It's probably the best thing I've ever done. And, you know, I've made friends for life, and I enjoy every second of the day. Love training, love dieting, love eating rice and chicken. I love it all, you know. And so does Keith. We're very passionate about it, and we just want to spread the word.
It comes true on your site, actually, guys. Your passion does come true on your site, and they say, like, if you do something, as far as work goes, if you do something that you love doing, you'll never work a day in your life. And fair play to you guys. Ian, you mentioned there about you doing a show since 2009. I've been going to shows since 2005, and it's only this year when I seen the standard in your category, Ian. I looked at it from the side of the stage, and I said it to David Geller on the side of the stage, going, there's going to be 1 or 2 pro bodybuilders come out of these guys in 10, 12, 15 years, because the standard of junior is reckless compared to what it was. The person who won it in 2006 probably wouldn't even get 10th in 2012. So that's a great thing for Irish bodybuilding.
It's true though. I mean, the standard is getting crazy, and I mean, it makes me very, very happy.
Guys, before we kind of sign out, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
just to touch a small bit there on what you said last was
Sure.
about the future and the sponsors and stuff. Like me and Ian and Kevin, we wouldn't let a company jump on and get advertising or whatever else, or be named as a Blunt Force sponsor if we wouldn't use their stuff or wear their stuff or be proud of having them on our site. Because like I've spoken to bodybuilders in the past. Sophia McNamara, in Ireland, we did an interview with her, and she said it like, you know, there's not, the companies don't really help bodybuilders in this country. So that's why, if you notice, most of our, not most, all of our sponsors, except for Musclebound and Limerick, come from outside the country. Like our main sponsor is Nutrition UK. We've got Jackpack from America. We've got Machine Fitness from the UK. And those guys, because, you know, times are tough, you know, companies want to make money, and basically when all those guys jumped on board, like, as much as we did working on the Blunt Force stuff, like, we hustled and sent out tweets and made discount codes and stuff like that to try and pay back to those companies for all the support they showed us. And it's finally starting to set in that, like, people are taking recognition of all the hard work we're doing. Like, for example, last week we got named official press and media partner for the Body Power Expo in Birmingham in May, which is one of the biggest fitness expos in Europe all year. So, like, those guys, they gave us a pair of tickets to give away last week to our fans, and we're going to get a pair of tickets to the show at the day of the seminar as well. And, like, everything, we don't make any money off this. Everything we got off our sponsors, we give back to our fans, because they deserve it for tuning in and listening to us and giving back to them, because those guys, we wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the guys clicking on our page, liking our posts, sharing our stuff, you know what I mean, clicking on our YouTube videos. If it wasn't for those guys, we'd still be like, just, you know, training away, but Blunt Force wouldn't exist. So that's why when we started the whole, like, "We Are Blunt Force" slogan, it was like, so people can be a part of Blunt Force just as much as us they are.
Like I said, I want to wish you the very, very best, guys, both of you. I want to thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy evening and doing this interview. Hopefully we'll get out to a lot of listeners and people can get back on, and I've said this many a time, to get on to Blunt Force bodybuilding. So guys, I'll just leave it like that, and I wanted to thank you again very much, so I appreciate it, taking the time.
No worries, thanks very much.
Okay guys, cheers. Thanks so much.
Alright guys, there you have it. Ian McGarry and Keith Burke from BluntForceBodybuilding.com. You can follow them on Twitter, you can search them on Facebook, and of course the website itself for most of the feedback and blogs, the information that you can get. Craig, you did the interview with the guys. They sound like good guys, sound like they're passionate about the sport and about promoting the sport within Ireland, and they seem to be doing pretty well for themselves.
Absolutely. Do you know what? It was a pleasure to talk to them, and I have met Ian before, and I've trained with Ian before, and Keith. It was my first time. Actually, I met Keith at the last show at the Nationals, but it was the first time doing a proper interview with Keith. And the two boys, like you said, Colin, they're passionate, just like ourselves. We're not making a penny. We're giving up a lot of our time. And look, and I have to say, from your Physique Radio point of view, Colin will do a lot of the editing. So, I mean, all this that we do has got to go over to Arizona. It's got to be edited, guys, and this takes hours and hours of work. And this is all for free, off our own time. And look, Colin's a busy personal trainer. I'm a busy personal trainer. We've a lot on our plates. We've families, and we're both married, so we've got to run households. But the same with the boys, it comes through in passion. This is what I'm trying to get at. You know, the boys are passionate, just like the guys in Irish Muscle are passionate, just like the guys in Gym Magazine, and just like myself and Colin from Your Physique Radio. So I think it's a passion that runs through. Now, we don't make a cent from it. Not yet, anyway. Maybe in time, hopefully, but this is not what we're after. We're after promoting bodybuilding in Ireland and in America, obviously, but mainly in Ireland for the Irish fans.
Yeah, I've just what you said there about passion. You know, passion drives success, and you know, to be successful in almost anything, you gotta want it. And this will come back to everyday people in the gym who, I want to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, I want to be able to bench press 225, whatever. You have to want it badly enough that you're willing to eat an extra meal, or you're willing to sacrifice a meal, or you're willing to get up early and do your cardio, or before work, or before the kids wake up, or whatever it is. You know, you really have to want something. before you can set the goal to actually doing it. There's no point going in there and wasting your time and paying to go and see a trainer or paying a gym membership and this and that, and unless you're going to follow through on all aspects of it. You will get some results, of course, but if you're going to do it right. And if you're passionate about something, be it going to university or going to college, if you want to come out there with a 4-year degree or going to your master's, do your PhD, if you're passionate about something, follow it all the way through and make sure that you don't look back and say, well, I wish I had have done this in 20 years time. It's very hard to go back sometimes and turn back the clock, and in most cases not even possible. But the guys in Blunt Force Bodybuilding, like you said, IrishMuscle.ie, here on Your Physique Radio, we're doing this because we love the sport and we want everyone else to kind of experience it the way we have and to get the most out of their body that they can. It's a very, very expensive machine that we own. Let's make sure we make the most of it while we have it and not have any regrets when we grow older. But again, thanks to the guys for coming on for the interview. We do appreciate them taking their time out of their day and their busy schedule to do so. Craig, I noticed a post on Facebook last night from, actually I believe it was your wife, Emer, who mentioned she was about to watch a TV show called The Gym. Now, I was intrigued to wonder what the hell is she talking about. Fill me in here. What were you looking at last night on TV?
Yeah, it's a documentary series RTE are doing. It's called Reality Bites. I think last week, I think it was about something, I don't know, gay and lesbian or sex or something. I know what it was about. But this week it happened to be the gym's turn, and gym culture is like in Ireland for people who are running gyms and doing classes and stuff from the actual gym people's point of view, not from the clients and customers' point of view, which was good. It was nice to have that insight. So it showed 4 different gyms. I think there was one in Kilkenny, which was a strongman gym, which Ireland's strongest man since 2009, I think, James Fennelly.
Oh yeah, I actually watched James Fennelly on World's Strongest Man here on ESPN about a month ago.
Yeah.
So he's obviously doing well internationally. Go on, yeah.
There was his gym. There was a gym in Dublin. I think it was near the Olympia Theatre. I could be wrong on this, and I'm sure some of the lads in Dublin will correct me, but I think it was Ab's Gym or something like that. And this guy who owned that then was kind of a physique model, like a male model type of a guy in good nick. Not a bodybuilder type, but in good shape, and he has to be throughout his whole year, obviously, for photo shoots and so on and so forth. There was a one from, I think it was Carrick and Shannon, I'm going to say, up in Monaghan, or Carrick and Shore, I'm not sure, one of the Carricks anyway. It was Carrick Fitness, as far as I know, and he had guys in a total mix from we'll say, teenagers all the way up to a woman there, and she was doing leg curls and she was happy out and she was doing tricep extensions and she was in her 60s and she's gas crack. But I mean, it was lovely to see it, a different point of view, not all male gym and not young guys, not old guys, not whatever. It was just a good mix, which was nice. And then finally, there was a father and daughter team who train in UL, and we've trained there many a time, Colin.
Yep.
But they're doing like step aerobics and aerobics inside the basketball court.
Yep.
I think the guy's name was Richard Clifford, I think his name was, and his daughter, I can't remember, it was a Joanne or something, but they were good. I mean, Jesus, there was easily 40 people in his class, 40 or 50. Now, just because I do aerobics as well, I can't understand. He stood at the top of the class. He had no microphone. I don't know how they held or heard him at the end of the thing, and how they even seen him. But look, that's his own business. He seems to be doing something right. And he was a. Can you remember a guy, Colin? No, you probably remember him. Was it Richard Simmons? Is his name?
Richard Simmons.
Is he like a fitness guy in America?
Yeah, he's a bit of a kook, alright, but he's still...
This is what it reminded me of. He had the curly kind of sideshow bob hair. I hope if he's listening, I don't mean disrespectful, but he had the curly kind of sideshow bob hair. He had the leotard on, giving it loads, whistling, I mean, very good at his job, obviously, but I think it's not the last we've heard of this fella. I can guarantee you that he's probably going to get a bit of publicity from it, so... But fair play to him, absolutely fair play to him. But it was a good insight. What I would say is, looking at James Fennelly and his gym, he's a well-balanced guy. He comes across a really, really nice guy. He's got some good guys in his gym. There was one guy, I think he competed in the Olympics at, I'm going to say high jump, but he's throwing kegs over. I've never seen anything like it. If I can get the link.
Oh, keg toss.
Yeah, but this is, I've never, and I mean, even James Fennelly was looking at this guy going, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, there's no way James Fennelly would have even came close to this guy. But to look at him, he just looks like a normal guy.
Yeah. And
he's got some reckless power in there. Like, I hope you can get to see this. I'll try and get the link across to you, Colin, in some way. I'm not sure if the RT player will work over where you are.
No, they delayed for a couple of months before we can see replays and stuff. But
all right. Well, I'll try, maybe on YouTube. I'll try and find it somewhere. But she's incredible. And the guy, that physique model guy, again, if he's listening, he came across a bit lost, if I'm honest. It was like he was depressed. That's the feeling I got.
Now I didn't see this. Now, just going off that, was he trying to make his life out to be really hard and tough and difficult because he wanted people to kind of have sympathy, or what?
I wouldn't say sympathy. He was very kind of down in the dumps, and he was like, oh, people think I've an unattainable body and blah blah blah. And the first thing I seen was like, all right, dude, relax. Do you know what I mean? Most of the 300 bodybuilders that actually compete in Ireland do a few weeks diet and they probably have a better body than him. But look, that's a different thing. That's his game and whatever. But anyway, he just seemed like he was locking up his gym late at night and he was heading off. He just seemed either very lonely or I don't know. Compared to the other three guys, it was completely different. It really was. But it was nice. It was a good insight. I mean, some of it was total crap, but generally it was a good program, and I'm glad it came on and it was put in a good light, especially for James Fennelly. I'm glad he's getting a bit of publicity and people actually are starting to talk about him now in Ireland, because I think he was on the Late Late Show last Friday night as well, if I'm correct. So
yeah, it's interesting that, not to knock the strongman or powerlifting or relating to bodybuilding or whatever, but when nobody, and this is absolutely nobody in the media or anything gives an absolute crap about anyone unless they're on the international stage, and even at that, the funding just isn't there. I remember Ireland had a indoor 110 meter hurdles champion, Derval O'Rourke, I think her name was.
That's right, yeah.
And I may have mentioned this on a previous show, but when she was the European champion at the time, she was still working in UCD's fitness center as a trainer. Right, like this girl is on the world level. If she was American, she would be doing absolutely fine. She wouldn't have to work a regular job. She could train 100% full time. But because she's in Ireland, and Ireland don't give an absolute crap about their athletes and all this kind of stuff, it's so hard for them to break through. Hence, there's not many Irish people on the international stage where it comes to really technical events such as the hurdles and this and that. It's just a shame to see so much money get pumped into other crap, especially with the economy the way it is now. We could do with a boost. We could do with seeing our athletes on TV doing well in the Olympics. We could do it, having a little bit of happiness here and there to kind of share and talk about, and not just doom and gloom and economy and crap like that.
And then, do you know what? That's why America will finish with 118 medals and Ireland will finish with 3, and they're all from boxing. Because that's all we're good at, fighting.
Yeah, it's and you see the thing is when it comes to and those guys, wherever they're training out of, whether it's Limerick or Dublin or Cork or wherever they're training from, they're going in and out and in and out and in and out. They'll be lucky to get a tracksuit for their event or a tracksuit for their trip over, and they might not even get their flights paid for whatsoever. They're relying on Brennan's Butchers down the road to stick a sponsorship on their bag, and that's ridiculous. That shouldn't have to be the case.
And they're relying on volunteers, we say, to go packing bags in Tesco or Dunn's, raise a bit of coin for the person. That's sad. It's absolutely sad.
And as much as people might say, well, we need to spend the money on having the cops and the police and healthcare and whatever else, or the fire brigade and the healthcare. It's all well and good to do that, but then don't go wasting your money employing 50 guys to fill up one hole in the side of a lane somewhere. You know, you don't need 17 local council workers digging a hole to refill it again. You know,
and week in, week out.
Yeah, it's the money is just spent in the wrong places. And of course, sport is very deeply ingrained into me, and the fact that I love sport, and I think that to be a professional athlete would be fantastic. But not if you're working in Ireland, not if you're living in Ireland. You're not a professional athlete, you're a part-time athlete. Even though you might be on the world stage, you're still just a part-timer. And that shouldn't be the case, especially for someone who's as good as or had the talent that Derval O'Rourke did to be the European champion in 110 metre hurdles. Now, it was indoor, so there's argument about all that. But look, my opinion, she was the European champion. She should not have had to go to work a regular job if she wanted to be at the best of her game. And if she wanted to do it, fine, and all well and good, but I guarantee you it wasn't necessarily a choice. It was she had to make money, because the Irish Sports Council just don't give up money. Now, they might not have money, but again, that's the government. They need to be able to see where Ireland will be happier, and, you know, be able to celebrate come Olympics time. You know, put a few Irish people on the world stage, generate some more interest, then you get some more tourists back into the country again. You gotta generate it. Anyways, so on an overall, is that show finished now, Craig, or was it just a one-timer for that?
It was just a one show. It obviously, Reality Bites now will be on next week. I'm not sure what it's about, but it'll be a different subject altogether next week then. So
what I will say, in the last couple of years, I remember was it 2 years ago, they did a show on Irish bodybuilding, and Sophia McNamara was in there.
That's right, yeah. That was Baz's something world, crazy world or something.
Yeah, so that was nice to see. There was a little bit of fun put against the sport of bodybuilding, but at the same time, at least it got the publicity out there. You know, it was nice to see it on TV. I was actually in Ireland at the time when that was there, so it was nice to see it. And, you know, from time to time you will hear of different stories. You'll see the likes of James Fennelly being promoted here on ESPN. More people in the States probably know who James Fennelly is through Strongman on ESPN than they do back home.
You know what? I absolutely guarantee it.
Like, he will not get coverage on RTE, but he's on ESPN over here.
Yeah. ESPN, the world sport leader.
Yeah, like he might not even know that himself that he was on, but he was on, and they put him in a good light. And I don't know where he placed. He definitely didn't come last anyway. But you could clearly tell the Irish guy in the lineup. There was no question. It was 100% direct. But no, it was nice to see Irish sport on the world stage, and especially, you know, a guy who, like you said, Craig, seems to be a nice guy, and wish him all the best in the future. But alright, Craig, well, with that then, we've come to the end of the show. We'd just like to thank our guests this evening for our feature interview, which is from the BluntForceBodybuilding.com crew, Ian McGarry and Keith Burke. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, IrishMuscle.ie. That is the destination for the latest and greatest in Irish bodybuilding. And of course, we'd like to say, you know, go out and get the next copy, the latest copy of Gym Magazine, which will be available on newsstands in Ireland this coming weekend, so the weekend of the 15th of March. Just get it ready for St. Patrick's Day, guys. I'm sure there might be a feature in there on how much beverages you should not be drinking. And until next time, remember, it's your physique.
And it's your choice.
Thank you for listening to Your Physique Radio in association with IrishMuscle.ie. Replays of all previous episodes can be found on iTunes, YouTube and Facebook. And for advertising opportunities, you can contact us at yourphysiqueradio@gmail.com. Your Physique Radio. It's your physique,